I think growth just very fundamentally is about experimentation, even at mature sort of levels, and where you think your engine is mature. I think even at that point, I think you should be experimenting a lot. In fact, if you built the right way, the bigger you are, the more experiments you're running. I mean, the classic example of Facebook running 500 experiments on almost every web page that you are visiting, right? There have been definitely times when it's very tempting to just singularly focus on what's working and double, triple, quadruple down. But very important that you're running multiple other experiments at the same time. There are companies that I've seen made the mistake. They just found one channel, thought that they've hit the holy grail, just like went so all out on it, like didn't build any capabilities on other channels, and like didn't ultimately were left with quite a broken growth machinery, right? So definitely a mistake to not commit. The most important thing I learned is like when you're in a growth environment, you've got to create an environment where people feel secure to experiment, right? I've found that you create environments where people take bold bets, and celebrate the failures as much as the success, not to sound cliche, but to really focus on sort of learning over just always outcomes. And and also an environment where people should feel bold to take on large large targets, large bets, yeah, and not feel kind of the weight of, oh no, I need to commit something, I need to meet it. If I don't meet my sales target for 2 months, I'm a guy who'll be like let go or something like that. I think important to not create that environment, right? And again, it typically doesn't happen in startups, but I have seen sort of companies become so obsessive about growth, because growth is something that your board asks you. Growth is something that your potential investors will ask you. It's easy to make it like little too obsessed about in the company, but it is important. But you need to create that environment where you still are able to experiment, able to fail, right? I think the third one, probably my biggest learning. I mean, it's very easy to sort of, build a growth team heavy on people, processes, etc. I would really urge, all of you guys to think growth tech right from the beginning, which means a dedicated sort of function of product managers and engineers whose sole job is to deliver growth. Two things. One is folks dedicatedly working on growth, as well as a very, good collaborative relationship between product and growth. I have found very important. It just unlocks the dimensions on which you can think of growth. It also really builds up your growth guys into people who really think consumer first, as opposed to guys who are just spending budgets, pulling levers, changing prices, etc. Someone in your product organization should be corely thinking about growth at all points of time, right? Fourth is a mistake I continue to make, to this day. You always think that you have you have the right team, etc. But if you don't sort of hire well ahead in time, you're just getting swamped doing execution stuff, right? And growth has a lot of execution work to it. A lot of things that get boring after a very quick time. I've personally made the mistake of trying to overly keep the team lean, and as a result you find really high caliber people for 4 or 5 hours in the day are doing things that people half or quarter of their pay should be doing, right? So here it's important. I mean, don't overhire in growth for sure, but make sure at least your best people are backed up with the right execution resources, so that they're spending that quality time either analyzing or doing strategic thinking. Lastly, I think BizFin is your friend, finance is your friend. Growth and finance always need to go hand in hand, whether it is about planning, AOP, budgets, ROI, profitability, everything, right? So I've enjoyed a very good relationship with my CFOs, thankfully. And I think that's important for most growth guys as well, because just like your CEO, your CFO is very very board and investor facing. and growth is top of mind for everybody, right? So I think having the confidence of your finance team working together, creating the right processes between you guys, and the right level of both tension as well as camaraderie, sort of critically important. So yeah, these are just sort of five very quick sort of lessons learned.